Hello and good morning. Anyway, I did. I've been up since 4:30 a.m. this morning, and I've been working on a drawing and these ideas. It's 8:30 now, concerning the dilemma with the partner um, and the self. Let me see right here. Bear with me for a second. I always put my notes away. Um, and I'm what I've been practicing with these drawings is, here we go again. The exciting list is on the practice of Carl Gustav Jung on how to practice active imagination. Uh, Number one, you concentrate, which helps to grow the mind. Number one. Number two, you focus on a dream. Number three, the unconscious speak. Number four, generate an artifact. And number five, analyze the message. So here's the drawing that started this morning. It's me, myself. I'm going to use myself, self, within the perspectivism of Carl Gustav Jung. And let's always go back to the this basic layout, which Jung talks about the ego, the collective consciousness, the subconscious, the collective, which would be the consciousness, the subconscious together, hopefully navigating into the unconscious mind. And here's where we find the animus, the self, and the shadow. When I'm talking about the self, is this, let's call it the self-portrait. And my partner, let's call it the model. She's the model. She's the subject of this reality that I'm going through. Let me get this closer. So anyway, this is really interesting. Where I ordered. I haven't seen her in a month. I ordered 2 chairs from Amazon with the intent that we go out to a picnic and I drive. I have a little Italian vintage car, and I drive, and then so I got these these stools, one for her and one for me. So I started the doodle today, just navigating in a gestural format, what I call quantum drawing, where I'm going in and out space, gesturally in and out, and then I start formulating some form of content. I always start around here, and then I come around and I go here, and I really don't look at the paper, and I'm processing feelings and emotions I have that are very intense, sometimes erratic, very anxious, highly radical, where the imaginary kicks in, right? The imaginary, where I start thinking of third party. Why is she pulling away? Weird behavior. It's very disconnected. Then I go into myself. So what happened here was really interesting. I started going around here, and I said, "Oh my God!" It's like I'm sitting with my legs crossed. Then I have my arms. I felt they were crossed. You know, people have all these assumptions of body language. Like when you cross your arms, is that you're being very standoffish. In this case, I was thinking of my arms crossed with my legs crossed. But now that I look back, it started like protecting my heart, this area of my torso, my feelings. So when I started like navigating out of this, my right hand here, look what happened to my left arm and my left hand. Really weird. It went out, went out. And this is very important. And this is a good sign because in the physical, there's a lot of pain. I'm very sad. There's sadness. But sadness and going inside in your pain actually starts opening up yourself. And I see it with the drawing where instead of having crossed arms, my my left arm. And by the way, I have a lot of issues with my left hand because I was a drummer, a professional drummer, and I still practice. The left hand is a weaker hand, and my right hand is my stronger hand. This is the hand that I use for drawing, whatever, my right hand, eating. My left hand is my weaker hand. But here, the left hand is being liberated. Being liberated. Finally, after so many years, the left hand is being liberated. Meaning, I am surrendering the bonding of my emotions, opening up. My other drawing was, my hand was being elevated, opening up. My model here, my partner, she's been not communicating in silent mode. She's a good listener. We cover her ear. She has a little earring. We went to the symbolism of that in the other drawing. Really interesting. But she's a good listener. So anyway, the chairs. Is she coming back to sit with me, to be with me? Are we going to be together? Are we moving on? Are we going to work it out? Is she going to come? Is she going to release whatever secrets, whatever hiding energies are happening? But here, drawing number 2. So what I do is, this is my first drawing. This is the doodle. I write certain stuff here. I write stuff in Italian. I write stuff in English. I write stuff in Spanish. El hombre, the man that cries. You know, this is something really interesting. In our culture, men don't cry. I mean, American culture. If you cry, you show weakness. You always have to be stoic. You always have to show. You always have to guard yourself. You have to be standoffish. You're not allowed to open up. And if you do, it's very censored, where you constantly have to be censoring what you say, how you express yourself, and your feelings and your emotions in a relationship. So the self, here, the self, if you don't express yourself, you go back to ego. You're stuck in ego. When you're stuck in ego, consciousness is very linear, very mechanical. So subconscious mind gets neglected, gets voided out. Not completely, but in the relationship that we have as lovers, as partners, with our subconscious mind. Our conscious mind and subconscious mind are the real lovers, the real anima and animas, the real partnership. We have a partnership with our subconscious mind. So when you go to ego, here we go. Carl Jung, ego. You get stuck in ego. When you open up emotionally, you cry. You're not showing weakness. It's the opposite. Once you open up, you start becoming more flexible. The pain, not the suffering. Suffering is different, but the pain that goes into this area makes you more soft and gentle. I know it sounds crazy, but being soft and gentle makes you more flexible, makes you more compassionate, makes you more empathetic. Yeah, if you feel that there's third party energies here, she's not revealing, and you activate your animus, your anima, your masculine energies, confrontation, right? Confrontation. But if we go within and we become vulnerable to ourselves, we start developing a really bonding relationship with the subconscious mind, conscious mind. So we have the real collective here. Now, drawing number 2 is a transformation going on here. And here's where I'm using more quantum, non-Euclidean. There's an artist that my mentor, Francis Bacon, highly recommended that you check him out, where Bacon goes into these horrific imagery of the self and models. He painted his models. He painted a lot of his dilemmas in relationships, and they're very macabre and they're very phantom-like. But here I go into an area of where the chairs I order on Amazon, they're basically picnic chairs. They're cheap. When I transformed myself, I went into... This is very difficult to explain, okay? People would say I went into my room. I went into my chair. I went into my comfort zone, okay? But what happens is, it's reflected that I'm in a room, no longer sitting on the floor level. Here I am in a room sitting in a chair, a blue chair. These drawings, I call them out of the blue. Because what happens with all this energy provides us with information. And remember, the universe is based on 2 attributes, information and energy. That's what's utilized to create a subatomic particle reality, where it is information and energy. Creates energy and mass, creates electromagnetism. So we're getting here into a collective unconscious of a home, a chair, a home that I will not maybe have with her, with my subject, with my model, with my partner, whatever, my soulmate. So here I isolate myself like a hermit in my own room. I find my comfort zone in my chair, but I transcend myself. Look what happened to my left arm here. It went into infinite space-time, meaning I completely opened myself up to infinite possibilities. Whatever happened here, and this I'm using the same technique of quantum drawing, just going around and then defining the contour and finding form and content, going back to Leonardo da Vinci, where he doodles and then he finds space. He finds a space. Space starts formulating a form, and then within the form comes the contour, and then you have content. Then you have, I could say here, the self-portrait with my model. A very aesthetic reality. Model and muse and self-portrait, muse and artist. Used by Picasso, used by many artists. Still, we can use it in our relationships with people that, especially people that we're having life situations with, where we might be in an empty room because we're alone. And here is me, crying. But crying is good. Crying is empowering. Crying is releasing. We're made out of 70% water. Yeah, we urinate, Mr. Urinate. We urinate. Baba. We drink water. But what about when we release water through our emotions? Like a waterfall. A waterfall of emotions. Tears come out. Very healthy. She doesn't cry. She's very stoic. Very much rigid in her ways. She's a beautiful person. She's very smart. But when it comes to emotional intelligence, the psychology of emotional intelligence, that's an area she needs to do work here. And you know, this area here, denial, go back to ego. Ego. When we figure out transformation, and here you see the here you see the chair. This is quantum fourth-dimensional space manifold representation where the room comes here, it loops with the chair, the figure goes like that, right? Goes like that, loops like that, it goes out, goes like this, then goes this way, out of the symmetry, meaning you are in infinite possibilities. The best way to deal with dilemma, pain, and this is something you have to isolate from this here, remove this here, put it here, sit on a chair. I highly recommend no drugs, no alcohol. Very important. Even though Francis Bacon was an alcoholic and the artist, and a lot of his paintings, no, he wasn't under the influence of alcohol when he painted. Not at all. But it's very important to be conscious and present moment of your feelings. And you don't want any type of toxic or external forces or intrinsic forces that would affect your altered states. Because what we're looking for is in creative imagination is we want to be able to find a therapy within creativity, according to Jung, that will give us I'm not going to use the word answers, but that will give us some sort of comfort, like the chair, for us to move forward, and move out of the bondage, the anchorism that's holding us back. So anyway, out of the blue, started with this basic drawing of sitting on a same picture plane. I've been about a month now dealing with the isolation of isolating myself. My partner's no longer here in the physical, we're separate, but how do I go here? And this really helps me. Today, last night, I got up in the middle of the night and I thought about it, my anger, my emotions. But being that I've been practicing, I know to go back here to the center the center, my 1 point perspective, my Leonardo da Vinci 1 point perspective. He was the first one to situate 1 point perspective in the famous painting, The Last Supper. The center of my being here, the right side of the brain, my right side of the head. Here it goes, and it's interconnected with the room, and the energy goes outside. If we have the ability to go interior, and we also have the ability to go outside of ourselves, so whatever comes in, it's almost like budget. Whatever goes out money-wise, you have to bring it in. That's how you balance your budget. Here we're balancing our budget of our emotions. We want to be able to have a balanced budget. What goes in, goes out. Doesn't stay here, stays here, and heads back to ego. Okay, thank you for watching.